Good afternoon. We're starting now in just a minute and we have the music and hosts. Yeah. Hi everyone. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Team Fountainhead and to all teachers and a warm welcome to all of Rujita's followers and teachers around the world who are watching us on the Fountainhead YouTube channel right now. Uh, India's most loved and respected nutritionist, most followed nutritionist all over the world on social media, Rujita needs no introduction. Her no nonsense approach to food, which does not believe in shortcuts or fad diets or any isms as a way to good health, but rather sticking to some basic principles for long term sustainable health, have earned her millions of followers all over the world. A best selling author, Rujita's books have been translated in multiple languages, and she has a new book coming up very soon, which is called Eating in the Age of Dieting. Well, currently we are in the midst of a pandemic, and right almost from day one of the pandemic, Rujita has been going live on her Insta handles and YouTube and Facebook and telling us about lots of tips and tricks to manage our time during lockdown, how to stay healthy during the lockdown. And today we are very, very lucky to have her here to talk to Team Fountainhead and indeed teachers all over the world about how we can take care of our well-being when we are working from home and teaching and checking assignments and having meetings and managing all our household tasks. I'm not going to take much of your time because I want to have Rujita's time with us, like maximize Rujita's time with us. So over to you, Rujita. We also have Jinal from Rujita's team joining us, and Jinal will be taking questions and answers at the end of the session. Over to you, Rujita and Jinal.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, and it's really a pleasure and an honor to be here to be talking to Fountainhead school and teachers every single time because I have a great deal of respect for not just the school that Akita and Vardhan have built, but also the whole team and the kind of work that you do. I have always had that because I have come to your school physically, but this time my respect for what you do went up at least 100 notches because we had Sunay and Nanvikas living with us for a couple of weeks, and I could really see the pain, the effort, and the acceptance with which all of the teachers accept that pain and effort to conduct seamless and flawless online classes. And I was just saying to my partner GP that I don't think that I have the patience to do what teachers do. I also recently posted Hemraja sir's music video, and I was like, wow, someone can teach music online and people can actually sing and dance and groove to your music. That's really, really cool. I also happened to see one of Sunay's drawing classes where he went very close to the screen and said, "Ma'am, ye theek hai." And I was like, oh God, Sunay, you're being so irritating. But the teacher said, oh, ab mujhe kuch dikh nahi raha hai, beta. I was like, oh God, does this really happen to people? Treat children like the way they're really meant to, with kindness, with compassion, with the softness. And it's really something that I would like to say to you, that this comes through on your online classes. So a big congratulations for that, because I do know that there's been so much talk about teaching online and whether it's the same, whether children should be taking a break for one full year, sitting at home and doing nothing, maybe chilling. And after the work that you guys do, I'd like to say that I, for one, believe that parents cannot do with their children what teachers do with children. They cannot enhance their life as much. And surely for most parents, most of the clients that I work with, they're like, thank God school hai, because otherwise I don't know what to do with her, or otherwise I don't know what to do with him. So I think teaching is one of those underrated professions where while you're doing what you love, you may not really completely understand the impact that it has on many young minds, and it will continue to have for the rest of their life. But currently with online classes, you're also having a huge impact on the lives of all the adults around them. So again, a great deal of thank you. Like I posted a few days ago, you guys really are the unsung corona warriors, and teachers deserve, especially when classes have gone online, a lot more than what we have learned to give, whether it's in terms of respect or honor, or like plain salutes. And but even though sometimes you may find that the public doesn't understand, please know that your work still remains great. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's all about how we look like in our own eyes. I don't know how many of you saw the IPL yesterday, but for all of you who did see the IPL yesterday, Chris Gale, or the universe boss, was batting, and he batted really beautifully, fours and sixes, and then at 99 he got out. Okay, he was like bowled out at 99, but when he was giving his interview, he said, to me this 99 is a century. And I think that's exactly what we need. What champions do is that they back themselves up, they see their glory, even when other people are unable to see it. So the rest of the world may be waiting for that one run, but for Chris Gale, it's a well-deserved century. Probably I think he's the only guy who has 299s in IPL. But I think the reason why he can have them and enjoy his sport and play like the way he plays at 41 is because his heart is invested, and he sees himself for the hero that he truly is. I think a lot of us teachers can learn that from him, the ability to see 99 as a century and not go by what the world considers a century. All right, so here's me talking to you about what are the kind of occupational hazards that teachers can have. Well, I'm a daughter of a chemistry professor, someone who was in service for a full 35 years, and a lot of people join teaching because they think that it's going to be one of the easiest professions that one can ever join, and it's really going to lay out work and life balance on a platter, and it's going to be really beautiful and charming because it's just going to be children all the time, and it's just going to be fun and very rewarding. While it's all of that, it is also a whole lot of grind. And at least in UK, they have a big website which lists out all the occupational hazards that teachers tend to have. And teachers tend to have many occupational hazards: throat ache, eye strain, bad backs, neck pain, acidity, bloating, hair loss, hoarse voice, to name just a few. Now, I think with this whole online, these occupational hazards have gotten even more exaggerated, or they've gotten amplified. So for a lot of people, it's just what you're doing is rather soft. It's not like you're standing on the border, so you're going to get killed. But if you look at the occupational hazards that you're having, they're extremely high. So it does get counted in one of the high risk professions, a rewarding one, but a high risk one nevertheless. So for this special times that we are in this whole pandemic, really, I thought about what is it that we can do while we are at home, while the season shifts from rain into harsh winters, while we are in this transition, and with the threat of corona not going anywhere. What is it that we can do from our homes so that we can actually have much better health and are able to deal with all of the occupational hazards better than what we have currently been dealing with? So the stuff that I'm going to tell you is going to be things which will help reduce eye strain. It's also geared towards better joint health and mobility. We're also talking about what are the things that you can do to boost your immunity, and also what is it that you can do to keep your, okay, just 1 second, I'm going to take a minute. Yeah. And what are the things that you can do to keep your throat and headache and likes away from your life? So for all those of you who've been also leg pain. I don't know, is anyone now experiencing leg pain or cramps now that you're sitting so much more, maybe cramps in the night, or cramps just at the end of the day, though you feel you haven't really walked around as much. Yeah. So for all those of you who've been following me, when I came up with the book, the 12-week fitness project, or for that matter, even when we did our Ease PMS study, one of the things that we spoke about was starting the day with black raisins. And now with online classes, so much of us is on the screen all the time. We work on the screen, we entertain ourselves on the screen, we inform each other about things on the screen. It's just the screen at all points of time. And then if you ever go to an eye doctor, one of the things that they will say to you is that you need to be eating colored food. Have you heard of that? Eat food which has more colors. And the minute we think of more colors, we are only thinking about carrots or maybe beetroot, but we are never really thinking about black raisins, because black raisins is just munakka or kishmish, kala kishmish, which we have such easy access to that we cannot possibly think that this could also qualify as colored food, which will help us with lowering our eye strain or protecting our eyes better. It is also something which will help you with digestion and bloating, because for teachers, what has happened is that there has been a huge shift in your usage of the body, really, from having to walk to every class and maybe back to the classroom, up and down the stairway. You're now just you stay put at one place, you stare at your screen, and you keep talking. Most of us, because we are sitting, I think we've also now using less and less of our arms, because when we are standing up and talking, we tend to use our body much more. We move from one place to another, we may walk up and down the class. None of that is happening now. If you use your legs lesser, your digestion slows down. And when your digestion slows down, you become older at the same age. So it is still 2020, but I'm sure a whole lot of you feel like older in your body already. If you look at like 2019 December pictures, 2019 October, and now it seems like, oh, it was 5 years ago, And the only reason for that is because we are using our body lesser. When we use our body lesser, our digestion weakens. When our digestion weakens, we need to look for sources of soluble and insoluble fiber to get the intestines moving again. Black raisins will help with that too. And for all teachers who just feel lack of energy at the end of the day, because it is exhilarating to teach, but it can be when students are actually there with you in their flesh and blood. But the same lesson can become a task when you're unable to see them, especially when videos are off, when someone could be eating something, someone's sibling is coming, someone else's dadi is putting some cooker ka siti and stuff. So there's just so much happening. Through that, with your focus to do a good job is tough. You may run out of energy at that time, and the reason why you run out of energy is also because the hemoglobin levels actually start dropping and the iron levels start dropping, and black raisins help with that too. So if you're feeling low on energy, if you're feeling the eye strain, if you're feeling slow on your intestines, if you feel like you've aged by about 5 years in just 1 year, black raisins is something that you need to be eating on a day-to-day basis. When I go, Jinal will come on and she'll tell you exactly how you can place it, at what time, whether it can be at the first thing in the day, it could even be in the middle of your classes, but that is something that, it will work well if you start with that as the start of your day, because it's a nice, refreshing start, and you can actually start your classes feeling lighter on your stomach and fresh in your minds and eased out on your eyes. So that's the first thing that you should be doing. The second thing that I want to talk about is really something which has been in news for for a long time, and now recognized across the globe as hashtag immunity, hashtag anti-inflammatory, hashtag all kinds of things of a drink. It's called golden milk, it's called turmeric latte. But just plain and simple healthy milk is something that each one of you should be eating, because the way you throw your voice has now changed. If first in the classroom, like most of us know exactly how to throw our voice, where it will reach, how to say the good things, how to sound like you're punishing without punishing them. But on an online interface, it changes. We are probably always talking a little louder than what we need to, or maybe talking a little softer than what we need to. Our pitch has changed. The rate at which we throw out our words has changed. All of that means more throat strain. More throat strain means more upper respiratory tract infections. With COVID around, it just means that you're that much more at a risk. For other people who have shifted their work online, all that they do is that they just log in, sleep, maybe I think write a few programs. It's all B2B or business to business. They're never really interacting with a real human being on the other side. You're not just interacting with a real human being, you are interacting with the most vulnerable age group. You're interacting with children. So talking to them, staying engaged with them, that's a whole lot of vocal strain, and it's you are that much more, so you're talking much more. People who have otherwise shifted online are not really talking as much as you guys do. So you need to look after your upper respiratory tract, you need to look after your throat. So haldi doodh is something which is extremely good for you. Also because teaching comes with its neck pain and back pain, and that is something, milk and haldi can also magically look after your spine or your bones, your tendons, your ligaments. Often really not completely valued for what it can do to your neck and back, but milk is extremely important, which is why hum log ke yahan pe people who play traditional kushti would drink up to 5 liters of milk every day, because only then can you throw others around, have other people sitting on top of you, beating you to a pulp, and yet not have anything in your body creaking or falling or straining. With us, we are just sitting online, but everything can seem to creak or hurt or get stiff or not move. So yeah, have that haldi milk for the anti-inflammatory properties. Now, for all of you who are feeling undue stress or too much stress because you're not just working from home, you're also working at home, especially true for women. A few responsibilities that we never had to do now just become ours because we are at home. We can see things, and a lot of us have this problem कि मुझे दिख रहा है तो मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता है. So we dive in and then we do those. We do work at home also, and then of course there is for all of you who get cramps in the night in your legs because of just sitting around a lot more. And for you, all those of you who are actually having sleepless nights because, when your physical activity is so much, all of a sudden when it shrinks, when you were interacting with hundreds of people every single day, just the whole joy of being around humans who are much younger than you, much more enthusiastic than what you are, much more carefree than what you are, much more happy than what you are. You must, whether or not you recognize it, you must miss their laughter, their speed, their giggles, their silly jokes, their there may be tantrums over nothing. And if you're missing all of that, of course, there's going to be a change in your sleep pattern. And so if you have cramps, if you have stress, and if you have seen a change in your sleep pattern, what you need to do is crush a few cashews. So about 2 to 4 cashews and 1 to 2 almonds, and just crush it fresh and add that to your haldi milk and have it. So that way you will no longer have that leg pain. You will also be able to sleep much better. So this is then going to be the meal that you will have last thing in the night. You will sleep much better, and you will also feel much lesser stressed, because cashews help you relax and unwind, which is why everyone also feels magically, you have cashews and your mind is transported to Goa. So you just think of it like that, like everything just gets much more susegad. So the cashew and almonds to your haldi milk, have that as the last thing. Now, if you don't know what to eat through while you are teaching, then one of the things that I would strongly recommend is a fresh fruit. So in between your classes, when you have that 10 to 15-minute break, plan to eat a fresh fruit. Do not eat more than one fruit at a time. Don't cut it right from the beginning, but keep it accessible, and make sure that it belongs to your region and that it is the fruit of the season. So no dragon fruit and kiwi and stuff like that. The regular, I think right now you have the peru, you have probably fresh apples, you will have sitafal, and as the winter comes in, you will have many more fresh fruits. Okay, but I have a method for how to eat the fresh fruit. So my method for how to eat the fresh fruit is that you have to get up from your screen, not touch your phone, and walk all the way to your window or balcony. Look as far away as you can into the horizon, and then eat your fruit and chew on that fruit slowly. Don't use that time to message anyone. Don't use that time to complete any task at home. Don't communicate with anyone else other than yourself, because sometimes just spending time with yourself is the only therapy that you need. And when you hear a fresh fruit crackle under your jaw, when you feel its juices all around your mouth going down your throat, it will help you heal, even with the whole voice strain. I don't know how many of you feel you sound different over the last few months, now that you're teaching so much online. So if you feel you're sounding different, or if you feel that you have developed bloating in areas of your face which you didn't have any, if the eye bags look a little bigger, if the jaws seem to pop out from the side, if the chin seems to hang, it's a fresh fruit that you need. But this is the method in which it works. It doesn't work when you're eating it with the screen. You'll have to walk, go as far away as you can, change that focal length so that you're maybe looking at a green patch or into the sky. Eat a fruit and tell yourself that of all the people on earth right now, you are probably the only profession doing a meaningful job. The rest of us are just wasting our time online or trying to monetize our time online. We aren't really doing anything fruitful, not half as fruitful as you guys do. And you should also remind yourself that you are probably the only profession where your students actually miss you. The people who interact with you miss you. In no other profession does anyone miss anyone. They're like, thank God, मेरे को मेरा boss का थोबड़ा नहीं देखना पड़ता है. Thank God, I don't have to meet my colleague anymore. But it's only students miss their teachers, they miss their school, they miss being in that environment, they miss being pulled up, they miss all the musty. So whether or not you feel loved by people around at home, you must know that kids really miss you, and that's really a special thing to have. I work a lot with the film industry, and one of the things that every actor tries to do is become a favorite with the child. Okay, if you're a hit with children, then you have a long lasting career and you can make more money for every endorsement. So Shah Rukh Khan was one of the first people who got extremely popular with kids. Then of course Varun Dhawan and Alia Bhatt are two people that I work with, extremely again popular with children, which is considered to be one of their biggest strengths. So acting and all of that aside, let's say if you just compared Alia to maybe, I don't know who, or Pariniti or anyone, and if if Alia resonates much more with the age group of like 3 to 15, then she's the one who's going to bag all the big projects. So even film stars, or the reason why big endorsements go to cricketers like Virat Kohli and stuff, is because of their resonance or their popularity with children. So you may not have endorsements coming your way, but had you been in another profession, or had the advertising world had more imagination, then they would just use teachers in most of their ads, because and they would use you are the role models. What they try to do, what actors try to do, what cricketers try to do when they're performing in front of the camera, is to appear like a teacher, someone who's fun, who sends a message, who tells them unfortunately what to buy, but is also then extremely popular. So you must remember that stars aspire to have your kind of popularity. With kids, it's a very, very special thing, and sometimes you may not value it, or kind of just take it for granted, or not realize that it's special. You may not realize that this 99 is actually your 100, so that's something that is worth remembering. Then another main meal that I would recommend all of you to eat is the millet of the season. And this is for everyone who is having hair loss, or for the ones who feel that their joints now make a noise, because when you're teaching and roaming around, then your joints don't make a noise. But once you stay put and you sit, then the ankle starts making katak katak noise, or the fingers make noise. The neck, if you move it, it will make a noise. So for all those of you who are seeing कि मेरे बाल झड़ रहे हैं और मेरे body में से various आवाज आ रहे हैं, and also if this big change of being offline to online has led to more gas and bloating in the body, where you feel that you are now maybe burping and farting in a very unpredictable way. You are not even expecting to burp and fart, but it's happening. So if any of those things are happening with you, then what you need to bring into your diet is a bajra rotla or a bajra bhakri with a big dollop of makhan, because without makhan it will not work. And to have that meal with jaggery and ghee. So hair loss, bloating and farting at long times, joints making weird noises. For all of you who are going through any one of these things, bajra rotla with makhan, jaggery, ghee. With these things, if you also feel that eye pe zyada strain hai, ya family mein koi heart history hai, then also a lasun chutney which goes with it, because then lasun can give you phytosterols which will look after both the eye strain and the heart history, so it can actually work at keeping your lipid profile in a good place. The whole combination, okay, not one thing out of it, the whole combination will do this for you. You must remember that when you come from a profession which is constantly mobile, you barely sit, you are constantly mobile, from so much mobility, from about 6-7 hours of walking up and down or standing all the time in the day. When you go to just sitting down, there are changes in your circulatory system, there are changes in your respiratory system. You will actually have muscles which are now weaker than before. You will have a circulatory system which is now compromised upon, because the whole stimuli of standing and walking around has changed. And even with exercise, that is not going to reverse itself, because what happens with non-exercise activity, or the adaptation that the body goes through with non-exercise activity, cannot be made up for with just exercise. I'm sure you are all aware of the big study which was done. It's one of the most classical studies in fitness science, where in the UK they studied conductors and drivers. I'm not sure if you're aware of them, but conductors and drivers का ये जो study है, this is a study on the heart. And the reason why they studied conductors and drivers is because conductors and drivers belong to the same socio-demographic. They live in similar places. They are of the exact same age group. They work in pairs, so they have the exact same number of working hours, the same work environment, similar pays. But what they saw is that conductors had much stronger hearts and much more resilience to heart attacks and strokes and diabetes as compared to the drivers. And then when they looked at what is really the difference, then ladies and gentlemen, you know the big difference. The driver just sits and rides the bus. The conductor keeps moving up and down that bus throughout the day for the same number of hours that the driver has just been sitting and doing his job. So you can think of yourself as conductors who are now shifted to drivers, so there is now a bigger risk. And the only way to then get rid of that risk is really for schools to reopen. But till they don't reopen, I think what you can do is consider doing at least some of your classes standing, so I don't know if any one of you has thought of that. But a few classes standing, at least 2 or 3 classes a day, if you're able to stand, and then place your camera in a way where you can also move while you stand and you can still be seen or accessible to children, then that is surely a change that you should consider bringing. And the bajra, makhan, ghee, jaggery, and lasad chutney will help aid that process. It will help prevent that loss that the circulatory system and the joints and the digestion and stuff like that is going through. So that is something that you should be eating at least once a day, if not once a day, at least every other day. That's the meal that you need to eat, along with doing a few classes standing up or walking the usual way. You must tell yourself that every time in real life when classes shifted, when one class came to an end and another class started, you walked. So try and do that in the current situation too. And if you cannot walk, can you at least stand? Because surely most of us can still stand, right? But what most of us will do is laptop ke saath kaam khatam ho gaya, then we are in the same place and we are reading the phone instead. Laptop ke saath kaam khatam ho gaya while you're teaching, maybe your posture is erect, but the minute the class is done, we're all like, okay, now what? Now to the next class, let me do something else. So stand up, walk around, create opportunities for more activity. And the last food that you all should be eating is, the adadiyo or the ariv laddu, or any laddu that you make which has a little bit of gond in it. Again, to help protect your joints, all these, whether it is ariv or the adadiyo or the gond laddu, all of these they have ingredients which are especially high in the nutrients and the antioxidants that they offer. If we have aged a lot in this 1 year, it's because our free radical activity is basically byproducts of metabolites. They have jumped up because of the kind of stresses that one has felt, whether it's financial stress or emotional stress, mental stress, or stress that comes out of lesser physical activity. This constant little worry at the back of our minds about our parents. Are they going to be safe? Our children, are they going to be safe? What happens to my job? Do I make a return next year? Are my children fine? Are they studying properly? These little things which which have now entered our life all of a sudden, they have given rise to more free radical activity. And when there is more free radical activity, we need more antioxidants. And these laddus or barfis, especially that of Arif or Gond or the Adadiyo, are excellent and time-tested ways of providing your body with those antioxidants, those anti-inflammatory agents, those immunity boosting agents. These agents also work at keeping your hormones in an extremely good shape, which is why you must remember that these foods were otherwise traditionally meant for lactating women, because they are the most stressed out or the most vulnerable category or subgroup, which requires quick access to high quality nutrients in a very short span of time, without really spending too much time. If you want to provide your body with a great deal of nutrients, that's when these laddus and burfis come to your rescue, and that is something that you should be including in your diet. uh, so, of course, it has all of these therapeutic benefits, but it also has huge aesthetic benefits, because it will help you keep your skin in a good tone. It helps your posture to be much more erect. And most importantly, it cuts down on sugar cravings. So, for all of you who've been craving something meeta, or if you've been craving for chips, which you were otherwise never used to crave for. So, for everyone who is now craving for things that they never even used to think about, um, and all of us are craving for much more. All of us are calling for food much more from outside than what we used to. A whole lot of startups are now about delivering food to other people. Swiggy actually put out an ad saying 1 crore log mangwa rahe hai. Just in this whole lockdown, so many more people have downloaded the likes of Swiggy and Zomato and stuff, and we are eating out. We are eating out because we are craving, and we are craving because we are not eating food which belongs to our culture, but we have easy access to it, but we are just not making time to eat those foods. So maybe you can consider eating one of these things either in between your classes, or at the end of your most stressful class or most stressful meeting, or at the end of the day, to ensure that you're not overeating at dinner or not having any sugar cravings post dinner. So that's about the food that you should be doing. In terms of exercise, I'm just going to quickly tell you what you can do before Jinal can take over. If you asked me, surely 5 Surya Namaskars every single day, either before your classes or in between your classes or as soon as you finish them. But do not end your teaching day without 5 Surya Namaskars. It's exactly what your spine needs. Bending forward, stretching up, bending backwards, lifting your legs, lifting your arms, moving them through the whole range of motion. Now that you're not walking around, you are going to need doses of exercise. One of the things that I really loved about Anvika's classes was that she had something called as energizers, where they broke their sitting and they danced. So if you are also dancing with them, that's great. But if you're not, then you need to have this 5 Surya Namaskar energizer for yourself at least once every day, or you can do just one round of Surya Namaskar in between all of your classes. Place it like the way you would like to, but make sure that you're having it. For long-term health and to make up, like I said, because now you've shifted from being conductors to drivers in sense of what's happened to your activity and therefore your blood circulation and your cardiorespiratory abilities. One of the things that I would strongly recommend is cycling. So if you are able to cycle 30 minutes every single day, then it will take away from the strain on the back, it will take away from the strain on your neck, and it will take away from the strain on your shoulders, because sitting, teaching any which ways is extremely difficult on the neck, shoulders, and back. Teaching online, that much more difficult. So 30 minutes of cycling every day, the first thing in the morning or in the evening, whenever that you feel like, but make sure that you're getting these 30 minutes every day. And just eat better and treat yourself with the exact same kindness and compassion that I've seen you treating your children with. Look after your food, your exercise, and your well-being, because you guys are really making the world a better place. If there is one profession which makes the world a better place, which teaches love, tolerance, and patience by being role models and not giving bhashans, it is the teaching community. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Thank you for this opportunity, Ankita, and also Varsha for for everything that you've done to make this interaction easy. And I'm going to let Gina take over and answer any questions that you have. And I do look forward to an opportunity of meeting all of you in real life soon. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, Rujita ma'am, for such an informative session with our team. Gina ma'am, I am here to ask few questions on behalf of my team, myself, Suruchi.
Yes.
One of the question from my team is by Miss Niharika Rathi. Should the cashew and almonds soaked in water, should they be soaked in water before mixing it with milk?
Okay. Before I start, thank you, Suruchi ma'am, and I just want to say thank you, Ankita ma'am and Fountainhead School once again for this opportunity. I think all of us in office always get extremely excited when we get to do anything with Fountainhead School. So I was really excited. A weekend starting like this is amazing. So thank you once again. About cashews and almonds, I think the almonds will be good soaked. So you can soak the almonds, peel the skin and crush them. But the cashews won't need to be soaked. That can be just directly crushed and added to the milk, to the haldi milk.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Ms. Suchi. What kind of movements or exercises can we do during transition breaks between classes?
Okay, like Rujita said, Surya Namaskars is one thing that can be done. In fact, what I can do is I can share a lot of the videos that Rujita has been, showing on our Facebook and YouTube channel. So a Surya Namaskar video of exactly how to do it in a stepwise manner, which can be shared with the entire staff at Fountainhead. There are many other full body stretching movements that can be done. We conducted an entire series called Yoga at Home, where again Rujita had shown various asanas and in the sequence in which you can do it. So those kind of things, and otherwise anything that you like to do, you feel like you want to stretch, you want to do some asanas, you want to do some squats, you want to do some lunging, whatever that works for you, you must ensure that you fit that into your routine. So there's nothing like A exercise is better than B, but the point is of getting them done in your day. So I can share a couple of links with you, which can be shared with the entire staff, and that's just something put on a video, and you can go ahead and do them.
All right, please do share those links with us and we'll forward it to our teachers. The next question is from Ms. Ashia. What are the other few food items apart from the ones mentioned by Ms. Rujita which are beneficial for our eyes?
Okay, for the eyes. So everything actually in terms of the stuff which is local, which is in season and which is traditional works beautifully for the eyes. To name a few more foods in addition to what we have already discussed. So all the vegetables which come in the kand category, which comes in the roots and tuber category. So we have sweet potato, we have suran, we have arbi, those are the stuff that work extremely well for the eyes. In fact, they work extremely well for women with any kind of hormonal issues as well. Any of us experiencing trouble with our periods, PMS being bad or period flow not being under control, cramping happening. So these work extremely well for the eyes as well as for hormones. Like we said, all kinds of local, seasonal, fresh fruit works extremely well. What we must definitely include is also for the eyes and for the stress that the eyes and the body goes through is some pickle. So any homemade achar, so we have things like chundo, we have things like mango ka achar, we have mirchi ka achar. जो भी आपके घर पे traditionally बनता है, जो भी अचार डलता है, you have that. Include a little bit of that in your lunch or dinner, one of the meals every single day. It also takes care of any kind of sugar cravings or when you feel like खाना खाने के बाद वो satiety नहीं मिल रही है, संतुष्टि नहीं मिल रही है, you feel like it's still incomplete. This is what works extremely well. So the addition of pickles, so roots and tuber vegetables, all local seasonal fresh fruits and pickles.
All right. The next question is by Miss Sanjana. What if one has a knee injury? Is Surya Namaskar advisable?
See, if you are feeling comfortable with it and if you don't experience any aches and pains while doing it, it is completely safe to do. If you feel any pains or niggles, then you can take a break and you do the stuff that you are able to do. However, it is something that you will be able to do agar aapko koi pains ya takleef nahi hoti hai. So one of the things that we also need to do for all of our knee strength to get better is to work at just staying more active. So like we discussed about, after every class, if there is scope to move around or to stand or to take a couple of lectures standing, take those breaks, because I mean, sitting is the new smoking, so it is going to have an impact on all of our joints and stuff. So make sure that you're creating that scope of movement, and that should be taken care of too. In fact, I'll also send you one. Ruchita had also recently put up one video on things that we can do for leg pain, back pain, and there's one asana called Suptapadangushtasana. It works extremely well. Something that will work beautifully for all teachers, especially. So that's something that can be done every single day. Won't take more than 5 minutes at one go.
All right. So the next question is from Mr. Mohammad Behzad. Ms. Rujita had said something regarding black raisins to introduce in the diet. Okay. So he's asking, is it a must to introduce these black raisins in the diet, or is it fine if you're not liking to eat?
Yeah, well, anything that you don't really like the taste of and you don't like to eat it, you can surely, you don't have to include it. But of course, things that you like to eat, and because black raisins comes with its benefits that we have already discussed for digestion, bloating, for hemoglobin, for iron, for overall the fiber content that it comes with, it works beautifully. But yes, on any of these foods that we do not like, you should not force yourself to have them. But the stuff that you do like, you must include.
All right, thank you. So Miss Priya is asking that if we are not able to make ghee at home, so is it good to depend on the store ghee? The ghee bought from outside.
Well, what we do have access to, especially in our country, is a lot of gaushalas. So, if we can actually patronize a gaushala and get like freshly made ghee from there, if it's not possible for us to make it at home, I think that would be nice to do. And otherwise, yeah, try to make it at home as much as possible. But otherwise, gaushala se liya to bhi chalega. Anything which is like a desi cow milk ka ghee, like an A2 ghee, or desi buffalo ka ghee will also be a good option.
Okay. Then Miss Shalini Fudnawala is asking, can you guide us I'm sorry. Can we use turmeric with water? Then if yes, then at what time?
Yes, this is very interesting.
Miss Nandini Nathpal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So this whole thing of, just using spices and adding it in water and having it has become like the new fad, right? And this is something which we feel like haldi wala pani or cinnamon wala pani and stuff. Now the thing is, the beauty of our spices is, and the magic of the spices lies in the way that it is being used or it is being had, and in the proportions, and with what combinations are we having it. So the proportions and combinations are extremely essential. This whole thing of having haldi in water, what it ends up doing in the body is, instead of giving us all the nutrients and the immunity boosting and anti-inflammatory effects, it actually takes away from assimilation of very important minerals like iron and calcium from the body. So first, this whole thing started with curcumin pills, so this is a westernized concept. आप lunch में salad खाओ, उसके बाद एक curcumin pill को आप pop करो, and life is all great. And then it became into like haldi wala pani. And now there is research to say that having haldi in water is actually going to come in the way of mineral absorption. The real way to have it is to have it with an essential fat, matlab with milk or in your tadka. And that's why if you see right now, golden milk or turmeric latte, which is the new fancy thing, and that's what people want to have to boost their immunity. वही सब चीजें जो हमारी बा जी नानी ने हमको बोला, बट खाली इंग्लिश में उसको नाम नहीं दिया और उसको प्रमोट नहीं किया और उसको पाउंड्स या डॉलर्स में नहीं बेचा. We got it in our simple rupees. So that's why we don't have enough value for it. But the fact is that haldi or any of our spices are meant to be had in a certain proportion, in certain amounts, and in our milk or in our tadka or in the way we generally use it for our cooking. The thing is that cooking is an art and a science which is highly underrated, and we need to have enough value for that, because we've started believing that English is the only language of science, but the real stuff about food and the real knowledge and wisdom about food is in our native language. So जो हमारी दादी नानी ने कहा है और जिस रेशियो और प्रोपोर्शन में हमको सारी चीजें दी गई है या समझाई गई है उसी तरीके से फॉलो करना is the real thing to do.
Okay, yeah. So Rujita ma'am mentioned that, you know, for noises coming from our joints, ankles, and, you know, hair fall and all, we should have bajra with butter or ghee or jaggery. So one of our teacher, Miss Achal Bhatia, has asked that the butter should be a white butter, homemade white butter, any butter will do.
Well, this effect you're going to get only with homemade white butter. So जो मक्खन का benefits है for our joints. So basically white butter is also very rich in what is called as Wilson factor. Wilson factor is this nutrient which keeps the health of our joints intact. And that's exactly why it should be. So it has to be the white butter जो हम घर पे बनाते हैं, you know, that the one that Krishna Bhagwan used to have चोरी करके, वही वाला white butter is what we need to continue to eat. Yes, and especially in this season, because now as the winters pick up, that's what you have traditionally with your rotla, with your makke ki roti and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is by Miss Harshita Nankani. She's asking that isn't it ma'am asked that we should have haldi milk. So is that hot milk, isn't it? Will it not have a hot effect on our body, like haldi bhi, garam doodh bhi?
Yeah. So no, milk and haldi in this combination does not have. तो ये जो गरम वाला जो असर है वो तभी होता है जब हम उसको wrong forms में लेते हैं. So जैसे कि अगर ये हल्दी वाला पानी है, for example, that's something that's not going to work for the body. But haldi milk is a traditional combination, and all of these foods, they you know, if they are had at the times at which we plan for it, like for example, haldi milk in the night before sleeping works like a beautiful recovery agent. In fact, it only allows you to unwind and feel well rested and lets you sleep well. And when you wake up in the morning, you feel very fresh. So it is not something that is going to cause any kind of garam ya heat in the body. See, problem हो जाता है जब हमको लगता है कि अच्छा हल्दी बहुत अच्छा है तो हम बहुत सारा हल्दी डाल देते हैं. You know, so don't go after something. The minute we discover कि अच्छा ये तो बड़ा magic ingredient है, and then we just put a whole lot of it. You have to understand the only way that we're going to get benefits of all these so-called magic ingredients is when they are used in their proportions. So the secret is in the proportion. So put just that much haldi in your milk and use full fat milk, you know, which is bought from patronized like fresh milk, dairy milk, या अपने तबेले से या दूध वाले से versus buying Tetra Pak versions. If you have it from in this combination, full fat milk, which is raw and fresh, and haldi in just the amount that your milk looks a little yellow, that will be great. You will not feel any kind of heat in the body.
Okay. So Miss Suhani Agarwal has asked that can we go for walking and jogging for 30 minutes instead of cycling?
Yes, if that's something that you enjoy doing and that you have always been doing, yes. And if you're just picking up, then cycling is something that will work well. The reason that Ruchita also emphasized on cycling is because what it ensures, क्योंकि बैठ के जो अभी हमको joint में pains आते हैं या creaking sounds आते हैं, that is because our weight-bearing joints are also not being able to function as optimally. Now, the thing with cycling is that it is a non-weight-bearing activity. मतलब it doesn't cause too much of, it doesn't, you know, cause too much pressure on your hip, on your knee, on your ankle, on your lower back. It doesn't need you to, like, you know, when you're walking or running, there's a point when you are off the ground, and then when you land with almost 4 to 6 times your body weight. तो उतना आपके weight bearing joints पे pressure आता है. Versus cycling में there is nothing like lifting and landing. You're just cycling without having anything called as a non-contact phase. So it becomes easier on your weight-bearing joints. तो आपको knee को कोई problem नहीं होगा, आपके back को कोई problem नहीं होगा, आपके ankle को कोई problem नहीं होगा. So if you're just starting off, you start off with cycling. If you're somebody who's always been into jogging, then you can obviously continue with your jogging.
All right, thank you. Miss Nandini Aswani is asking that how should we consume black raisins? It should be soaked or we should consume it dry?
Okay, so yeah, it is best when it is soaked overnight. So in fact, I would take this chance to just quickly run you through how you can plan a full day, okay, keeping all of these foods that Ruchita discussed in mind. So you can start your day with overnight soaked raisins, 5-7 raisins. You can soak it in the night, wake up in the morning, within about 10-15 minutes, you can just eat these raisins. In fact, you can even drink the water of the raisins. for anyone who doesn't like raisins, you can even start your day with a local seasonal fresh fruit. पर ये जो meal है उसको 10-15 मिनट के अंदर ही आप करो of waking up, because what this will ensure is you don't have any issues of acidity, you don't have any issues of headaches, which is something that is a problem, is an occupational hazard for all the teachers. So you can start your day like this. From here on, you can plan your breakfast to happen anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes after having the raisins. Alright, अगर आप चाय पीते हो तो make sure कि आप खाली पेट पे चाय नहीं पी रहे हो. You have these raisins or you have your fruit and then you drink your chai. Also, when you drink your chai, you have it just the way you like it, okay? With milk, with sugar. It's nothing like green tea or black tea or whatever color of tea is better than your regular chai, or like black coffee is better than regular coffee. You have it the way you like it. That's the best for you. Then you can plan for your breakfast. In your breakfast, you can, include the haldi milk can be part of the breakfast, or it can come in as the last thing in the night. Your breakfast can be a traditional thing that you generally eat at home: pawa, upma, thepla, idli, dosa, paratha, anything that you like to eat and that gets made at home for you, or a khakra, but homemade khakra. Don't go for any diet versions of food. Make sure that you're having it the way you like it and it has to taste good. Then you can plan for meals at like windows of 2 to 3 hours. All right. So say between your breakfast and lunch, you plan for one mid-meal where a fresh fruit that Ruchita was talking about, a seasonal fruit like a peru, right now, peru, chickpea, sitafal, a banana, that can come in. So aapke class ke baad, ya in between two classes, if you can make scope for this and you have that. If that's not possible, even just a handful of nuts, handful of peanuts, cashews, agar doodh mein nahi aap dal pa rahe ho, so this is a good time to do just a handful of cashews. It will also ensure that you're like not very stressed before you enter your classes. So make sure you're having something at mid-morning, and then you have your lunch break. So you eat your lunch in your lunch break timings. I'm not sure with teachers. I mean, with Sunay and Anvika, we've seen them when they were here and they used to very nicely eat. But I used to often wonder that I don't know if teachers really get the chance to eat in that lunch break time. So make sure that you're not waiting for your classes to get over and then eat at 2:30, or agar kabhi extra class aa gaya, to I know that it goes even longer than that. So make sure that you're eating your lunch in your lunch break. Okay, and your lunch can be something like the bajra roti with or the bajra rotla with the makhan and lasan ka chutney, and end it with like some ghee and jaggery, or a simple meal that you prepare at home like a roti sabzi or dal chawal ya thepla, jo bhi aapke ghar pe traditionally lunch ke liye ban raha hai. Make sure that it has ghee in it. And then very, very important to plan a meal between lunch and dinner. You guys may have experienced this कि अगर हम ये 4 से 5 बजे के time पे you feel extremely hungry, and if you don't have a meal that you have planned or thought of, you will just end up eating anything that comes your way, and that's when you end up doing maximum junking. तो वो biscuits और chips और wafers और कचरा खाने का मन उसी टाइम पे होता है. तो ये मील प्लान करना बहुत जरूरी है. So this is where the laddu can come in. It works like a beautiful option. So you can do the adadiyo or the gond laddu or the atta laddu or rava laddu or arev laddu, whatever that you like, or any homemade preparations, things like chivda, things like khakra, or anything. Abhi Diwali aa raha hai, to then all the Diwali ka stuff that you make, chakli and shankarpara and those gujiyas. तो जो भी घर पे बनता है वो आइटम, दिस इज अ गुड टाइम टू हैव इट. जनरली जब हम दिवाली के लिए चीजें बनाते भी है तो इट इज लाइक यू मेक इट अ लिटिल इन एडवांस एंड इट लास्ट्स यू फॉर अ लिटिल लॉन्गर आफ्टर दैट. सो यू कैन हैव इट इन दिस विंडो, इन दैट 4 to 5 o'clock time. And then dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before your bedtime. What works beautifully for dinner is something like a rotla is a great option, or simply dal chawal, khichdi, pulao, anything which is rice based. Works extremely well. It will make sure that you can sleep well in the night. For anybody who's having issues of constipation or bad stomach or gas or bloating, it will ensure कि आप सुबह को उठोगे तभी you will wake up with a flat stomach. You will also not take too much time inside the bathroom. You will not experience any cramps. For anyone who has sleeplessness, again, rice works really well. So that can be your dinner. And plan for your varieties. So sev puri, pani puri, all of these things that we end up making. Make sure that you're keeping the variety items to like a max once a week, yeah, twice a week on the higher side. उससे ज़्यादा dinners में variety मत करो, वरना हमको लगता है कि क्या हो रहा है, why am I feeling this gas and all. It's simply because we're not planning that dinner well. So plan for your non-Indian variety or chaat or pav bhaji kind of stuff just for once or twice a week, not more than that. And then you can do your milk before sleeping at night. And I think that's how you can plan your entire day and ensure that you're pre-planning this. तो आपका mid-meal snacks की class के बाद क्या खाओगे और 4 to 6 p.m. का जो block है उसमें क्या खाओगे उसको pre-plan करो. That's where your the magic of fat burning, hormonal health, pains, aches, all that will be taken care of if you're taking care of this meal.
All right. Thank you for such a detailed information. The next question is by Miss Yojana Singh. She's asking that people having BP issues, can they do Surya Namaskar? Is it good for them?
Yes, it is absolutely safe to do Surya Namaskars for anyone who has trouble of blood pressure. See, for any of the issues or ailments that you may have, at any point if you feel a discomfort, you discontinue it for the time being. But it's a matter of daily practice and consistency. So you do it one step at a time and you will be able to experience the benefits of Surya Namaskars for any kind of conditions that you may have.
All right. The next question is by Miss Ananya. She says, apart from hot water, milk, or any other way, is there any other way we can take care of voice box and vocal cords, like any food or liquids that can help?
Honestly, everything that we have discussed. But in addition to this, what you can also do is, we have like this, like a home nuskha, dadi's nuskha, like a mixture of ghee, jaggery, haldi, and dry ginger powder. Usko aap equal proportions mein mix karo and make it into very small golis, like nail-sized golis, literally. And you have those like once in the morning and once in the evening. That also works really well to keep your throat, soothed and not feel that strain. So that's something that you can do. Another thing that you can do is just make like a little drink of like ginger, like you grate ginger, boil it in water, take it off the flame, you add little lemon and add little honey as per your taste and make like this warm drink of ginger, lemon, honey. That works quite well. In winters, traditionally, you make things like rabs and stuff like that. That also works quite well. So any of these kind of things will be helpful in addition to what we have already discussed.
All right. So Rujita ma'am mentioned somewhere that we should have crushed cashews, almonds along with milk. All right. So one of our teacher, Miss Rashida, is asking that can we add saffron also to that thing? Milk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
and every day we can add.
Yes, every day you can do 1 or 2 strands of saffron to that milk in the night. Yeah. In fact, you can even do either you do it to the milk, or for everyone who plans to start their day with soaked kishmish in the morning, you can even add 1-2 strands of saffron to that and you can start your day with that, and you can drink that water. मतलब एक ही साथ आप सब चीज को भिगो के सुबह को you can even drink that water.
All right. So Miss Shaila is asking that the blue light filter feature on our laptop or our cell phones, does it actually help in combating our eye strain in any real way, or it's just a feature given?
I think it does help, and I mean we should use it. I guess if it kind of helps to also remind yourself that okay, I shouldn't be looking at my screen so much. If it in technical terms, if it doesn't help so much, it definitely gives you a reminder that okay, gadi mat dekho phone ko. So yeah.
Correct. All right. So Miss Saloni is asking that is it fine to just have rice for lunch, rice with dal and few veggies, not chapati?
Oh yes, absolutely. If that's how you like it, please feel free to go ahead and just do rice for lunch. You can do rice for both lunch and for dinner. There's nothing like you have to do chapati or you have to do a certain grain every day. If you like rice, it's great to have. It is easy to digest. It is easy to cook. It is tasty. It also makes you feel light, comfortable, satiated, energetic, no slump after eating rice. And everyone loves it. So yeah, you can definitely eat it for lunch and dinner.
Yeah. So the next question is by Miss Pooja, and which I guess is a question by all of us, that we really crave for junk food. So how can that craving be reduced?
One, by planning. So the way we discussed how to plan your entire day, I think the one thing that we do miss out, as teachers, I think you plan so much for your students and for your classes, but I'm not sure how well you end up planning for yourself. So the first thing that you should do is maybe a Saturday or a Sunday, if you can plan how you're going to, in terms of some of your meals, especially ये शाम का meal जो है, you plan कि पूरे हफ्ते में ये शाम के meal में what is it that you're going to be eating. So that is one thing that will help. planning your daily meals. Okay, the other thing that will help is planning your junk. So what are the things that you like to eat? So if you like to eat, like we were discussing about chaat or vada pav and things like that. So what is it that you would like to eat? Usko aap decide karo. Okay, this week I will eat one of these things. Say for example, you decide to eat like a chaat item this week. Now you plan which time of the day. So try not to do it for dinner and try not to do it for lunch. Evening is a good time. Also evening snack के वक्त खाओगे तो ज़्यादा खा पाओगे, और bloating भी नहीं होएगा, trouble भी नहीं लगेगा. You won't feel uneasy after eating it. You won't feel like, oh God, this is leaving a bad memory. You will just enjoy what you're eating. So plan it and keep it for that time, and don't feel guilty after eating it. Most times what happens is that we start feeling that I have eaten something that I really like to eat. Now I have to punish myself. So let me skip my dinner or compensate for it in some way or the other. So make sure that you're not doing that. You truly deserve what you have planned, and you truly deserve to eat what you like to eat with all your heart and love. So just eat it like that without feeling any kind of guilt, and you should be good.
All right. Thank you. Miss Surbhi is asking that is Jaggery good for diabetic patients?
Oh yes, eating jaggery or sugar has no correlation with blood sugars. So it's something that you should do. But the thing here is that you eat jaggery and sugar in the season that it's meant to be eaten. So jaggery is something that you eat in the winters, and in the summers we tend to eat more sugar. So like for example, we were talking about the bajra roti with makhan and ghee and jaggery. It's like a traditional winter thing. So don't replace your sugar with jaggery. Ki chai mein shakkar ki jagah jaggery dala because you're diabetic and you feel that's going to help you. That's not what is going to work. For everyone looking to regulate blood sugars, what you should know is that eating local seasonal traditional is the way to regulate your blood sugars. Eating meals in a timely manner and frequently is your way to regulate blood sugars, and planning for it. And of course, without exercise, this is not going to be as effective. I mean, it's a combination of the two, planning your meals as well as planning your exercise, and you should be able to see improvements in your blood sugar regulation.
Related to sugar, someone had a related question that can they have this Gond Pak and Adadiya Pak if they are again pre-diabetic?
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, all of our, these traditional laddus and sweet preparations that we have, if you look at it, the way that they are prepared, it's always like a grain. It's a whole lot of nuts. It's sugar or jaggery, depending on what the preparation is. And of course, a lot of ghee. So it is by default low on what is called as the glycemic index. Glycemic index is the rate at which whatever that you eat gets converted into, like, how it leads to, increase in your blood sugar. So it's a very stable climb of blood sugar. So if anything, it only helps you to regulate your blood sugar levels and not cause any disturbances. But what we feel like, okay, I'm going to not have this laddu, but I will have a biscuit, just because we are not aware of what kind of stuff goes into the biscuit, and because there's also marketed and sold to us as something which is good for diabetics, or it's high fiber. So we fall for those kind of things. But the fact is that even for blood sugar regulation, frequent eating, timely meals, and traditional local and seasonal meals is what is going to help to see better results.
All right. So during this pandemic, we have heard a lot, kadha, kadha, kadha. So, is it good to have kadha these days? Because somewhere it was mentioned that mixing spices with water is not good. And kadha is all about this Ayurvedic spices. So is it good to have kadha?
Like how we were talking about the whole haldi thing, it's a similar thing. So if in our culture, kadhas would come in when there is, like, you are down with a cold, or if you're feeling unwell, you have a fever. So every household has like one secret preparation that was given to you at only that time, during only that period, and it was effective only if it was given at that point in time. So suddenly taking these things every single day, a whole lot of spices in water, it doesn't entirely work. So the magic again lies in proportion and in the way that it is consumed. So if it's something that you have always been having, continue to have. If not, just eat the way we have planned. Do your haldi milk every night, and that's going to take care of your immunity too.
All right. So a few of our teachers have asked, this is a common question put up, that which ghee is good for health? Desi cow ghee versus groundnut oil versus sarson ka tel versus refined tel, which is good?
Okay, great. So as far as ghee is concerned, first preference is homemade ghee made from desi cow milk or desi buffalo milk. If that's not possible, like we discussed, we could do ghee which is from a gaushara. As far as oil is concerned, always filtered oil. And like Maharashtra and Gujarat, we tend to use groundnut oil. So you use the kachi gani singnu tel. That is what is going to work quite well. If you are traditionally using til oil or sarso ka tel, that's again something that works quite well. So stick to that. But again, cold pressed or filtered versions of kachi gani ka tel. Do not do things like olive oil and bran oil and stuff like that. Again, you have to understand that this is marketing. And like I was saying, that our grandmothers never spoke to us in English, so we don't have enough value for the stuff that has been there as part of our culture for years and years together. So that's what we should value. So go back, and you must have even noticed that all the foods that you cook in these oils or you cook in ghee always tastes much better than the other things, So don't feel that if you want to lose weight or if you want to get fit or if you want to get healthier, you have to eat food that is going to taste bad. You have to eat food that tastes great so that you are able to experience all the goodness in your body and in your health.
All right. So, ma'am, the last question for the day is by Miss Mansi. She is allergic to milk because of sinus. So, what can she have instead of milk?
All the milk products. I think for a lot of people who generally are allergic to milk are good with ghee, good with curd, good with paneer. So I think that kind of takes care of what you're going to get from milk. Also, we have many other, so we tend to feel like I'm missing out on a lot if I'm not having milk. But the things that we generally feel we get from milk, like calcium and essential fat and stuff like that, we get from all of our millets, like bajra, for example, nachni, from a whole lot of laddus and stuff like that. So as long as you're having a more wholesome plan through the day, it's totally okay if you're unable to digest milk.
Thank you, Ms. Jinal, for catering to our questions. And I hope all the questions are answered properly by Ms. Jinal. And over to you, Varsha.
Yes, thank you, Suruchi ma'am. So we thank you a lot. Thank you so much, Ms. Rujuta and Ms. Jinal, for catering to all our questions and all our queries. During this pandemic, while working from home, we all were so stressed that what is happening to our health, how do we balance it? And you guys brought such amazing ideas to our table. And the major takeaways, like taking classes while standing, including rice in the meal, having bajra, having gondka laddu, going for cycling for 30 minutes, and the major one, including 5 Surya Namaskars every day in our schedule, is definitely the key to for our satisfaction and happiness and balancing our work life and personal life. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. And like Ursa said, that you guys are truly the unsung warriors of COVID. And it's great, everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of this amazing session. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the session.